Hello everyone. Today we're going to be doing an abbreviated ETO HMIS training. In this training we're going to cover login, housing check-in, housing checkout, basic participant information, and how to utilize the ETO attendance scanner software. So we're going to just jump right in and go to the ETO login screen. Okay, so when we log on to ETO, remember that we always use for our username our work email address. That's always going to be your username. The reason for this is if you forget your password or you need to send a help ticket to Social Solutions, that correspondence would happen with your work email. Your password upon initially logging in would be password1, all lowercase. Once you log in for the first time, you'll see prompts to change your password, and you can do that and set that password to whatever you want it to. Remember to set it to something that you will remember. Also remember that we do not share passwords, we do not share ETO accounts, and we do not store passwords. As soon as you log on to ETO, it's going to give you a little prompt down here below and ask you whether or not you want to store this password. And I know we have a lot of passwords and we want to store them. However, we can't do that, not with ETO. Too much information that is confidential to our clients, and so the answer is no, never store passwords in the browser for ETO. So I'm going to go ahead and get logged on. Let's say we use the quick search bar and it was on the fritz. There are other ways in the system to search for participants. For example, we can come over here to this little green pop-out box and we can click participants and come down to find participant, and it'll give you this search bar right here, and we can search them by their last name, first name, or case number. I'm going to do last name fake, and it's going to spit us out these participants. We're looking for Harry, so we'll click Harry's name. It's going to take us directly to this view edit page. As you can see, it's all grayed out right now, but this is Harry, and we'll just navigate to Harry's dashboard from here, and we can work with him from there. Once you log in for the first time, it will ask you to enter in this information. You can enter in the zip code from your agency. You'll also be able to change the time zone. We want to make sure that the time zone is correct. We are Central Time, US and Canada. And then it's going to ask you to change your password. Please change your password to something that you will remember. And then, of course, we agree to the Social Solutions terms of use. You can read those in your leisure time. And we hit save. When you initially log on, you'll get to a screen like this, depending on what you have access to. For check-in purposes, you're probably going to be working predominantly out of the Tarrant County Emergency Shelter site. So we're going to click that. Now that you're logged onto ETO, I'll point out a few key features. If you notice here, it says Tarrant County Emergency Shelters. This is our site. Right next to our site, we see Presbyterian Night Shelter. This is our program. If we needed to switch to a different site or a different program, we would simply click the link and it would turn into a drop-down box, and we can switch between multiple programs. One should also notice the Quick Search tab. Quick Search tab is going to allow you to find participants in the system using their name or their case number. Another thing to take note of in ETO that is going to be really helpful to you is this green navigation menu. As you can see, there's this little arrow next to it, so sometimes you'll log on and you'll see the screen view like this, and your green navigation menu will have disappeared. All you have to do is hit this little green arrow and it'll come back. For the most part, you would work out of the participants tab. So we click the participants tab and it's going to open up all of these other links. Things that you would probably use here, you'd probably use view edit participants, and you would definitely use find participants. So now that all the basics are out of the way, let's talk about searching for participants. This is going to be one of the most important things that you do in ETO, and most of this will be able to be done in the quick search, under the quick search tab. So we're going to go to the quick search tab. I find it easier to search people by their last name if I don't have their case number. So we're just going to type in the last name Fake, and we're going to click search. A thing to notice about the quick search bar is that when you search Fake in the quick search bar, it's searching within participants. So any participant with the last name Fake, and right now we're searching our program. So we're searching Salvation Army. If I needed to search the entire site, so Tarrant County Emergency Shelters, I can simply switch that with this drop-down menu, and this would search the entire site for me. But right now we're just going to search the program, and let's say I'm looking for Harry Fake. We found him, we confirm that this is his information, and we'd be able to click on him and do whatever work we needed to do with him from the quick search. So once we found Harry Potter in the system, there's a lot of things that we'll be able to do with him. For example, we'll be able to look at his dashboard, and the dashboard is going to have a lot of stuff on it. For instance, his housing occupancy, whether or not he's been staying at any of the shelters. It'll also have his family information, so if he had come in with family members, they'd be listed here as well, and we'd be able to navigate to their dashboard from here. It'll also have his participant information along with a picture if he has one. Yes, that's Harry Potter. Let that soak in. It'll also have his case number. Just to backtrack a little bit, you can use this case number to search as well, and if we put that in the quick search, Harry's account will come up as well. Let's say we needed to edit some of this information though. Let's say we're talking to Harry and he tells us that this isn't the correct date of birth. We can go into View Edit Participant, and this is going to get us to what I like to call the demographics page. Demographics being Harry's name, date of birth, social security number, things of that nature. And we can go to that view edit page, and any of this that's not correct, let's say we misspelled his name or we put the wrong number in for the wrong birth date in, we can change that here. And all you have to do is change it and come down and hit save. This is also going to show you about his TB compliance as well as his consent form dates. All of those need to be in range. Let's say we use the quick search bar and it was on the fritz. There are other ways in the system to search for participants. For example, we can come over here to this little green pop-out box and we can click participants and come down to find participant, and it'll give you this search bar right here, and we can search them by their last name, first name, or case number. I'm going to do last name Fake, and it's going to spit us out these participants. We're looking for Harry, So we'll click Harry's name. It's going to take us directly to this view edit page. As you can see, it's all grayed out right now, but this is Harry, and we'll just navigate to Harry's dashboard from here, and we can work with him from there.
ETO actually provides a separate program where you can check participants in for a meal or check participants in for showers or to receive a laundry service, etc. This program is called ETO Barcode Sync. To log into ETO Barcode Sync, what you will do is you will actually use your login credentials for ETO. These should be your credentials, no one else's. You'll need to select the site that you're working out of. Today we're going to use the Tarrant County Emergency Shelter site and log in. When it comes up, you may need to work with your IT staff to actually connect a barcode scanner and get that set up. You're also welcome to reach out to the TCHC HMIS office for assistance. So once you have logged into your ETO Barcode Sync software, the first thing you have to do is you have to select a service that you're going to provide a participant. These services are usually stored as a barcode that represents that activity. For example, if you are checking in at the Day Resource Center, there will be a specific barcode that you would scan first and then scan a participant's scan card. And this would tell the ETO that that participant scanned in for check-in at the Day Resource Center. It sounds a little bit confusing, but just stick with me and I'll show you what we mean. So, you'll be scanning both the activity barcode and the participant barcode in this box here on the left. The right side will be actually searching for participants, so it's rarely used. So we're going to try to work out of just this box. So to give you an idea of what this would look like, to actually scan in the barcode activity, you would have a list of barcodes, each one representing a different activity. For example, this one here actually represents the Day Resource Center storage. So you would scan that barcode and that would tell the system that you are about to scan a participant in for that activity. And then you would actually scan the barcode that corresponds. So what that would look like in the software is when we have our ETO barcode sync up and we've actually logged in, and we can see that we are logged into the Tarrant County Emergency Shelter site and the Day Resource Center program. Now, as you can see, no activity code has yet been selected, so let's do so now. So we're going to select this submit bar right here, and we're going to scan in that Day Resource Center storage activity. And as you can see, when the scan has taken, it's actually going to bring up the Day Resource Center storage activity. If we wanted to clear that activity out, we can just simply hit End Activity. That will let us scan in a different activity. Of course, you do have to have this submit box selected. So now we're doing a Day Resource Center check-in. Now once you have your activity selected, at this point you can start scanning in participants for that activity. And the way the system is going to work is it's actually going to let you scan in as many participants as you want, one after another, for that activity. So let me show you what it looks like when we actually scan in a participant for a particular activity. So again, you want to have your activity selected. This is a shower activity. Once you have your activity selected, you can then scan your participant's scan card. Once you have scanned your participant's scan card, it's going to add them to a list as having attended that activity that day. So at this point, if you want to clear out that participant, you can simply hit Clear Participants. and it will remove the participant. And that's pretty much all there is to checking someone in for meals, laundry services, health screenings, storage service, etc. Good afternoon. My name is Thomas Britton. I'm the HMIS database manager for TX601. Today, I'm going to show you how to check in occupants into shelter beds, check out occupants out of shelter beds, and then modify program room history. So that's where you would actually change check-in dates and check-out dates for shelter beds. So to get to the area where you can actually check people into beds, there are two ways to get there. The first way is if you come to the main menu and go to Record Efforts, Housing Check-in. This will bring up a room menu, and if you hit the plus sign next to it, it'll expand it, and it will give you the area where you can actually check people into beds. Now, there's another way, a shortcut to get here. So coming back to our original login screen, this button down at the bottom called Housing Check-in, you can actually hit the go. And it will take you directly to this screen. Now from here, let's go ahead and check someone into a bed. So we need to expand our room, and we are going to select the room over here that we actually want to put an occupant in. So we can do that by selecting Add Participant to the corresponding room. It's then going to provide us a box requesting the participant's information. For most everyone, they're actually going to use this case number box, and what you would do is you would see if I can bring this up here. You would have a scanner much like this one, and you're just going to scan that card, and it's going to read into the case number off that card, and then hit return. So to show you this, let's go ahead and do that. So we need to select the box again, make sure our cursor is actually right there. We scan the card, and as you can see, it should pretty quickly pull up the participant. We then click the box, the button next to the participant's name, and if we hit save, it's going to have checked them into that bed as this date right here. So that would be the date they checked into the bed. So let's do that. And as you can see, that participant has been added to the bed. Now, let's actually check that person out of the bed. Let's just say in the instance that this person came up, was checked into the bed, and let's say they got a little too rowdy and the shelter had to send them on their way. So to check a participant out of the bed, you will need to go back to Record Efforts and to Housing Checkout. Housing Checkout is a little bit different of a screen. It's going to list all the people that are checked into beds. And to check someone out, you would just simply select the checkbox next to their name, and then it's going to ask you the date that you want to check that participant out. So we're just going to select that date, and when we hit save, it's now going to show that that participant is no longer occupying that bed. And we can verify this by going back into the housing check-in, expanding our unit, And as you can see, the fake Harry is no longer in that room 1. Now another thing to be mindful of is this is the room structure. So these BC1 through BC80, each one of those is supposed to represent a room. So you can add multiple participants to one room. So if we click here again, we can scan our Harry back into the bed. He now occupies a bed in that room. We can hit add participant to that room again. And let's say this time we don't have a scan card. The participant doesn't have a scan card, but they can tell us their name. So let's say their name ends with fake. We can type that name in here, and we may just ask them, you know, all right, Mr. Fake, what's your first name? Well, my first name is Boy. Okay, odd name, but all right. And then we may ask, what's your date of birth? And they say, oh, I was born in 2016. So if that's the case, we've confirmed that this is your person. You would select the button and hit save. And as you can see, we now have 2 participants checked into the same room. So it's important to understand the title up here represents the unit. As you can see, that unit contains, I believe it's 80 rooms. The title over here represents the name of the room. And just be aware that you can add multiple participants to one room. Now, some people may ask why it's so important to keep track of check-ins and check-outs to shelter beds. Shelters actually are often funded by programs that require data to go back to that program to show who they've helped. And by checking someone in a bed and out of a bed, it's showing that that shelter has actually helped that participant. So if the person is not being checked in and checked out, that data is not collected, and then when that shelter goes to report to a funder, it looks as if they have done less work than they actually have. So it's very important that check-in and check-out information is correct. Okay, so let's say that some bad information was created and it needs to be changed. There is a method in the system to allow that. So let me show that to you real quick. So here in ETO, we're back with our 2 participants. And let's say that this fake boy here, we've checked that participant in the wrong date. We can actually click on Manage Room, and as you can see, the participants in that room are laid out with their occupancy start date, and we can come in here and we can actually edit that information, and we can change that occupancy start date. Let's say they actually checked in October. So we change that date and we hit submit, and as you can see, it's changed the occupancy start date. From the screen, we can also add new occupants. We can look at how many beds are available in that room, because remember, this here represents a room structure. We can see the occupancy of that room, as we can see that it's already 200% occupancy because there is 1 bed available, 2 are filled, so we have our 2 participants in here. There's also a nifty feature where if you want to exit everyone from that bed, from that room, you can select all here. It will list the exit rooms and submit room changes, and that will exit everyone as of the date that you selected. So the last thing that I would like to show you today regarding shelter bed check-in is how you can look at managing all the rooms at once. So we just showed you how to edit the information inside the room, such as the occupancy start date. But what if we wanted to take a look at all of the rooms at once? Well, we can actually do this in ETO. Let me bring that back up. We can do that by coming again to the main menu, and we will select Manage All HMIS Rooms. And as you can see here, all the rooms are listed out. It will tell you how many beds they have available, how many beds are filled, how many beds are reserved, and then the percentage of occupancy. You can also come over here and select the Manage Room to a corresponding room, and that will bring up the same screen as we saw earlier, allowing you to edit the occupancies, start date, end date, and other information. I remember there was one more thing that I probably needed to show everybody regarding managing room occupancy. So if we come back into ETO, and let's navigate back to our housing check-in. And we bring up our room structure. Let's say we hit on Manage Room. You can actually add new occupants from this area. So you would search by the participant scan card right here. And search participants. And then it's going to bring up a box down here with two options. So it'll tell you the participant that you have selected, and it's going to give you the option to either add them in a room or reserve the bed. Okay, so this is the tricky part about reserving beds. If you click on reserve bed, the participant is not added to the bed until you come back in and you actually click OK. You can edit that information on this page here. And what happens is sometimes when you get in a hurry, you will you will select reserve bed instead of add to room. It will put them in there and it kind of looks like they're enrolled in the bed, and unfortunately the data is not collected on reserving a room. So hopefully that makes sense. The gist of it is, rarely ever would you use the reserve room option. I don't know of any shelters that currently use that, but very often you're going to use the add to room. Okay, so that's pretty much the training for operating shelter check-in and check-out, whether it be bed occupancy or whether it be, coming in for meals, etc. There are just a couple last notes that I'd like to give you, and that is, I just want you to know that the HMIS team is here to support you. If you have technical questions, please call. We have our information posted on our website. Also, if you have a software defect that you think you've identified, if you can post a help desk ticket, we want to strive towards getting those issues resolved very quickly for you. We understand the system is very frustrating, that you're already having to deal with so much at once that a computer issue or a software issue is just one more thing that is causing you grief. So our commitment to you is to try to resolve that stuff as quickly as possible. And there's one other thing that we really need to talk about, and that's in regards to sharing information out of the HMIS. So intake staff are often in the position that whenever someone walks through your agency's door, you're going to be one of the first people they see, and this results in often people coming in and asking for personal identifying information out of HMIS. Now, this can be anywhere from a friend, a relative, to law enforcement, to just maybe a case manager who's doing their best to do good. Unfortunately, though, our release forms do not give permission to share information to those outside of HMIS, meaning if agencies have signed the participation agreement, then you are welcome to share that information through the HMIS venue. But if someone is outside of that, then when they go to request information, those requests need to come to TCHC's HMIS office, and that includes law enforcement and CPS as well. But I think that's it. If there are any questions, please feel free to email myself. Again, I'm Thomas, Jaqueline, or Kelly. But thank you all.